is Inspire, Innovate and Ignite Conversations Account panel discussion. I'm really excited because today is a topic that is very much close to my heart, which is why I'm here facilitating. For anyone who doesn't know, I'm Sophia from Sacred You. We have the honour of presenting all these panel discussions where we bring in people from all over the world who are passionate about a whole range of topics on empowerment and everything else, to talk, to discuss, have a discussion on all these amazing topics. And today we are talking about surrender, the art of surrender and trusting the divine plan. We're doing this because for me, I've always thought that I've lived a surrendered life. Right? I've always been guided, followed the guidance until I read a book called The Surrender Experiment. Don't know if anyone else has read that, but if you haven't, thoroughly recommend it, which takes surrender to a whole different level. So today we're going to have a wonderful discussion on what really surrender is and how do we trust that divine plan. What's the difference between trusting and controlling, and how we can just really just let go. And with me today, we have some beautiful women from all over the world, all over the Northern Hemisphere. I'm the only one here to talk about surrendering. I'm the only one on the Southern Hemisphere. Today, we have some gorgeous women who are joining us to talk about the art of surrender. So let me introduce you to Linda. Welcome, Linda. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you,
Would you like to just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, I'm originally from England. I've lived in the United States in Oregon for almost 30 years now. And I am what I call the breakthrough energy expert. So my expertise is energy, really helping people understand and master their own energy and the energy around them so they stop giving their energy and their power away and are able to channel their energy into what's highest and best for them.
Best for them, which is wonderful. Thank you. And I do want to know more about that. And you're also an author of 7 books on energy and a host of our Feng Shui Success Tribe, which we will talk about at the end. So thank you. And what about Josette? Josette, who's calling in from California. Thank you for joining us, Josette. Tell us a little bit about you.
Thank you for having me. I am a self-awareness coach and educator, and I work with midlife women to grow their self-awareness so that they can empower themselves to live the life of their dreams. And I use the creative practice to help women get in touch with their soul and receive their aha moments with ease.
Thank you. And I love what you bring, and thank you. It's an honor for having you here because you're a wonderful contributor to Sacred You and the world, for all the women in the world. So thank you. And Jessica, what about you? Tell us about yourself.
Thank you. I'm Jessica Satori, and I live in the Seattle area, and I'm so thankful to be here. And I'm a spiritual director, educator, and author. And I also do coaching as well.
Thank you for joining us from Seattle. And last but not least, the beautiful, who I'm going to have trouble pronouncing your name. Sorry, Soira.
Yeah, Soraya rhymes with Mariah, if that helps.
That's right. I remember that one now from our last panel. Yes.
Would help that one.
Yes. So tell us about you.
Yes, so I'm from Vancouver, Canada. I'm a mom of 2. I really feel I'm a spiritual being having a human experience, and I'm a conscious mom coach helping women, first-time moms, to spiritually and emotionally transition to motherhood. I'm an author. I have my own podcast, and I've also been in HR for 20 years, so I've been studying human behavior for quite some time. So yeah, I'm excited to be here on this topic of surrender. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We're really excited to have you. Excited to have everyone here, like I said. So may we start with our very first question. And what is surrender? Like, how do you define surrender in a spiritual context? Because we're all, I would say, relatively on a spiritual journey. That's why we're here. And why is it important to you? So, Linda, would you like to go first?
Oh, well, to me, surrender is to let go of resistance. I've been very good at resisting quite a bit in my life. But it's also the recognition, the acknowledgement that there is a power that's greater than we are, that knows better than we do. And to allow I think it's about allowing your life to go with the flow, rather than trying to swim your way upstream. Surrendering helps you to really flow downstream and stop making life so difficult. I was always very good at making life difficult. So surrendering makes life so much easier. And I won't say it was easy for me to do, but now that I embrace it, it makes life so much better, more joyful, so much easier. So it's really letting go of resistance and acknowledging, I think, that there's a power greater than us, and we don't have to try and control everything.
Yes, yeah. Thank you, and thank you for sharing it. And I love how you're saying, you know, it's letting go, which is easy to say, but doing it's another thing, because we're very good at controlling, and that's why we're here to find out. Love to know more. So thank you for sharing that, and we'll go into more. And Josette, what about you? What is surrender, and why is it important for you? And would you like to expand a little bit more? And do you have any techniques that you've found helpful?
Ooh, let's see. So surrender to me is that moment of where I've built up my energy of resistance to a point where I can't take it any further, and I just have to let go. And that moment of release, when you actually surrender, the feeling, the sensation of surrendering and turning your energy over to a higher power, is that moment of where you really can feel the whoosh and the embrace of the divine. That's what I experience when I get to that place of surrender. And the importance of it to me is actually allowing the presence of divine to be guiding my life, rather than me thinking that I'm in control of everything that's happening around me. Because everything that's happening around me is happening for me.
Yeah.
So if I can allow myself to think in that way more often, then I can feel calm. I can have those moments of where I resign myself a little quicker, rather than making it painful by going through all that resistance, because it's not comfortable when we resist. And we just don't want to. I've found for myself, and when I talk to my clients about this, you know, the buildup of resistance when you're wanting to control something is just so, the energy of that just feels really uncomfortable in your body. And so when you can let that go, it's really helpful. And some tools, you asked about that. I really I bring art into my work. And so I love to provide an artistic or creative practice that allows me to have a different kind of conversation with myself, because I'm leaning into a different space within myself that allows me to have more connection. And when I'm being guided in that way, it sometimes will help me to see some of the reasons why things are happening the way they're happening that I'm resisting. And that helps me to release some of that resistance that I'm feeling. And when I can put it into that context and give myself some of my own answers, then my struggle is less, if that makes sense.
Thank you. Thank you for that. And I hear that. I was just allowing that to go through, you know, to letting go of the resistance and stuff, and allowing, so we don't have to struggle. Life is meant to be easy. I really think, surrendering can be a bit of a challenge for some people, but when we just let go and just allow. Thank you for sharing that, Josie. Thank you. Jessica, can I ask you to go even a little bit deeper? So for you, what is surrender? And how have you overcome any challenges, all that resistance that Josette's been talking about? Have you got any techniques and tips that you would like to share that you've actually been able to overcome the resistance?
Sure. I would say that surrender is a conscious release of everything, my calendar, my needs, my accomplishments, my everything. And it's like a rebooting or resetting of your life. I'm a filmmaker as well. And so I delve into stories. And sometimes the stories I tell myself can just wind up and I need to rewind them. And then a couple of techniques that have been really helpful. I really like what Josette said about art, because art and dance are so important to me. Moving your body and be able to release your cells, not only your thoughts, but all the muscle memory around that. And I do meditate every day. And then I have a prayer that I say, and I'll go ahead, because it's short, I'll go ahead and read it. It's called the Sushipe prayer. And it's in the Christian tradition, but it says, "Take, Lord, receive all my liberty, memory, understanding, my entire will, all that I have, and call my own. You have given it all to me, and I return it. Everything is yours. Do with it what you will. Give me only your love and your grace, because that's enough for me." So that's a total surrender of everything. And I think it's so well articulated. And to add a little bit more, you asked about challenges and resistance. And I'm a recovering control freak. As an entrepreneur, I always felt like I had to be in control, and I'm such a high achiever, high expectations. And I found that one way I started my healing is to be able to help others and to help them through their control freakiness or freakness, because then I want to convey what I've learned about I can't control, and neither will you. And you will be a better person because of it.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And I love it how I think we can all agree, or I can definitely agree. I love about the recovering control freak, and just again letting go and being a better person when we let that go and trust. So thank you for sharing that, Jessica. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Sarai, what about your beautiful self? Would you like to share what is surrender?
Yeah,
Right.
I read.
Yes.
Yeah, oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, so what is surrender for you? Why is it important in your life? And do you want to share any practices that you actually do that deepen your surrender?
Yes, absolutely. So I resonate with what all of you have said. Surrender to me is letting go and letting God, or letting the universe take charge. Yeah. And for me, it's been an unlearning the way I used to think about things, and really becoming consciously aware of my ego thoughts and my intuitive thoughts. So the thoughts aligned to fear and the thoughts aligned to love. And so for me, surrender is about handing it over and not worrying about the outcome. So less about being a worrier and more about being a warrior, right? By allowing this higher force of the universe to orchestrate what's already in the blueprint, what's already in our lives we just need to trust the unfolding. We just need to allow it to occur. And I think for most of my life, I was living more from the ego standpoint. Or I was having, different flickers of light, as they say, throughout life, doing the dance of consciousness, remembering and forgetting who I truly was. And A Course in Miracles came into my life, and that was a big teacher for me around surrender. And Jessica shared a really beautiful prayer. And I'm going to add one from A Course in Miracles that I like to use as well, which is, what would you have me do? What would you have me say? And to whom? And that really just helps me to shift my perception from fear to love and rest. I always picture myself resting in the arms of the Creator so that I don't have to carry that weight on my shoulders. I'm handing it to you. Now guide me, show me the way. And that's profoundly helped me create all these things from the space of love that I didn't expect. A book written through me, a podcast, and now my business. And so some tools, you asked about tools. So some things that really help me is getting in a state of relaxation. So I consciously start my day with an excerpt, usually as an excerpt from A Course in Miracles. I'll say the mantra for the day, and then I do my shower meditation, which helps me to relax. I cleanse my energy, and I just get in a state of envisioning this beautiful force of light infiltrating every corner of my being, and asking this force, step in for me and show me and speak through me. How may I serve you today? And that's a great way for me to surrender. And I'll set my intention for the day, and then I'll envision handing it over to this force of light or the doorstep of light and say, now, okay, I'm handing it over in the highest good of all. Show me where you need me to go and what you need me to say and how I can serve. And so that's where I find that opening comes, of relaxing my body, being in attunement of hearing, and then also asking, please step in for me, because we have free will. So surrender comes when we ask and we allow. And so that's what I do. That's what helps me. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And I love all the things you're doing and those prayers, just to allow the universe to use us and things. And I love it. So thank you for sharing that, Soraya. We have also just joining us, Yasmin. Thank you for joining us on Zoom. If you have any questions or comments that you'd like to add, you're welcome to come on camera or just put them in the chat. It's also great. And we also have quite a few people watching us on live. So again, hello to Julie and to everyone else. Thank you for joining in. Do pop comments in the comments, anything that you'd like to share. What does surrender mean to you? Right? Have you had any experiences of surrender that you would like to share? If you've got any questions, please put them in the comments and we will relay them to our wonderful speakers. So thank you. Linda, can I come back to you, and can we take this again even deeper? Okay, so how do you have any techniques that you've used, like, or how we can balance surrendering to the divine and doing what we want to do, especially as entrepreneurs? Right, we all have businesses, we all have our things, but all of us have talked about control. How do we let go of that control? How do we balance surrender, but yet doing what we want to get done?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I think it was Soraya that said it's an unlearning process. Especially in business, we're taught you've got to have your goals, you've got to focus on your goals, you need to know the outcome, you've got to measure your goals. Even I can remember, learning that I had to, if I went to a networking meeting or a conference, what's your intention? What's the outcome? What are your goals for this meeting? And so that's how I did approach things. But one day I remember I just got this sense of knowing that I was trying to think. I was going to an event and I was trying to think, what's my goal for this event? I was trying to come up with that. And then I just got this message of relax, show up and be open. And I thought, oh, okay. And so that's my approach really to just about everything now. I just try and, especially if I find myself thinking too hard about something, I just remind myself, relax, show up and be open. And the other part that's really helpful for me, has been really helpful for me, is I don't do goal setting anymore. I don't think about goals or what I want to accomplish. I think about experiences. I think and I use that with my clients, and I say to them, okay, what is the experience you want to have? Because if you're saying, let's say, for example, I want a new job, and I want this amount of money, and I want to do this and all of that. And I say, okay, forget all of that for a moment. What's the experience you want? Well, the experience is perhaps I want to work at a place where they really appreciate and value me for who I am and what I bring, where I'm recognized well in terms of financial remuneration, those kinds of things. So that's the experience you want. And I found very much that when you focus on the experience, you're letting go of trying to control the outcome, and you allow it to come to you in a much better way than you could ever have thought it was going to come. And that I've seen that happen again and again and again in my life and in the lives of my clients too. I think it's that whole concept again of relax, show up, and be open. You have to know what you want, absolutely. But I think that if you think of it in terms of experience rather than the specifics of what it should be, it just allows the universe to deliver it in a much better way than you could have thought of. So those are the two things that have really helped me. I'm a very practical person, and most of my clients are too. They want to know, okay, what can I do? Very specifically. And those two things, relax, show up, and be open, and just reminding myself of that, and then focusing on experience rather than a specific goal or something like that. Those things have really helped me.
Love it. Thank you. Relax, show up, and be open. I can just see that on bumper stickers all over the world. Wouldn't the world be such a different place if we all just relax, showed up, and just be open?
Well, and it's really all we have to do.
Yeah.
Because we spend so much time and energy trying to figure things out, and we absolutely don't have to.
Absolutely. We just let go. And be open. Be open to
be open. To that's the key. You got to be open.
Yeah, which makes everything so much easier.
It does.
So much easier. And I get it about, setting goals and things. Yes, I mean, personally, I believe it's definitely good to have goals and to have a plan, but to be open to what happens.
You can't be too attached to the plan, because that's I think a piece that many people find difficult. I found it difficult, is that when you have your plan and you spend your time figuring out what it is that you want, and then you have to let it go, and it's hard to do that. It's sometimes it's you have an attachment to it, so letting go of that attachment is key.
Thank you for that. Thank you for sharing that. Josette, talking about plans, divine plans, can I ask you, do we all have a divine plan, or is it a collective experience that we share?
I think it's both and. I want to say, Linda, I loved what you had to say before I finish answering that. But I do believe that it's both and, because collectively we have a mission, and yet we also have our own individual unique missions. Yet I think that sometimes when we talk about this in this kind of language, most people think it needs to be big, right? And yet everything we do, and to touch on what Soraya was saying with the Course in Miracles, a fellow student over here, so it's the ripple that we all create by the actions that we implement. And so everything that any of us do ripples out into the world and touches lives everywhere. And so I feel that, whatever it is that your unique blueprint, energetic, signature is meant to do here, it's all big, none of it's small, because no matter what it is that you're doing, it's touching other lives and moving us collectively forward. Did I answer your question?
You did. You did. Thank you. Thank you for that. And we will go even deeper. I'll come back to Jessica and Soraya. But before that, just want to say hello and thank you to Julie, who is commenting that surrendering for me is about acknowledgement of what is coming up, self-reflection, realignment in order to tap into my higher self, my divine feminine essence, to release and be in the flow and really trusting myself. And that's the thing, is trusting myself. So thank you for sharing that, Julie. It's really, really, really appreciated. And Jessica, is there anything else that you would like to share, about really letting go? For some people, especially when you have a business, for some people, we've grown up in a world that's very controlling, and just to really let go and trust. How does that actually happen for you in a practical level?
Well, yeah, I'd love to build on what Linda and Josette said.
Please do.
I love the relax, show up, and be open. I just love that so much. I have a sentence that I think about, and it's, I want this, but if it doesn't happen, I will be no less happy. So whatever the outcome's going to be, whether I get what I want or not, I'm still going to be happy. I'm still whole. I'm still, contributing to my community. So that doesn't matter as much. I used to be so tied up and I've got to win this award or that, or I've got to make, this client, etc. And now it's much more soft, much more, I can breathe. That's one indicator to me, is if I can breathe, then I know I'm surrendering if the breath is there. And something else I wanted to say is, I've noticed during my life, the more times that I surrender, the more good comes, because there's a void, there's a place you've surrendered all these ideas, and once the surrender has happened, then new things can come in because you're relaxed and the void is there, ready to be filled.
Thank you. Thank you. Relaxing and allowing the void to be filled, rather than trying to control it and filling it ourselves with our wants and things. Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. Well, it's very powerful. And I love your sense too. We're going to have lots and lots of bumper stickers for everyone out there who's watching. I really think we should have lots of bumper stickers. Soraya, would you like to add anything to the conversation? And can I ask you as well, a little bit deeper? We've talked about a little bit before about community, and I know in another panel discussion you very much mentioned about your family and the importance of that they play in your life. So how does a sense of community support the practice of surrendering?
Yeah, well, I think becoming a mom was a big act of surrender. Surrendering to the birth of my second child during COVID. And, birthing in a COVID hospital, I really had to get in a space where I was connected to the space of love and say, okay, you know what? I can't control the birth anyways. I can't control the outcome here. I'm not going to get much further if I'm going to be resting in a place of fear. I'm going to let it go and let you guide me. And in the sense of the birth of my second child, I completely surrendered it, and it went so much better than I expected, actually. And I know Linda touched on it, and all of us touched on it, that it goes better than you expect when you hand it over to a higher force to take care of things, rather than feeling you have to take care of everything you can yourself. So for the birth of my second child, I was supposed to be induced on the day that I was on her actual due date, because I'm 40. I was 40 at the time. And so they said, if you don't give birth to her on that day, you're going to actually have to get induced. And so that morning, my water broke. And, I was just so overjoyed and surprised. Only 5% of births actually occur on the due date. Mm-hmm. And I ended up having her my water broke at 6 a.m. I ended up having her at 5:30 in the evening, and unmedicated birth, and I was able to have a natural birth. I was so fortunate. And yeah, I just remember with contractions pacing up and down, and just again handing it over and saying, please help me through these contractions, please help me through this. Show me the way. So that's just one small example, but I think motherhood was a huge, for me, letting go. I think initially I really wanted to control everything, and wanted to make everything perfect, and, make sure that I had, researched all these things, and, there's all these different voices coming from different people on advice. And so it was when I surrendered and let go and really tapped into my own mother's intuition, is when I was able to then feel like, okay, I can do it in the way that makes sense for me and my family, in alignment with the higher force of love. And it's okay. It's okay. I'm making mistakes. It's okay. I'm learning on the job every day. It's okay. I don't need to control everything. Actually, I need to let go. And so that's been a real unlearning and a real awakening for me, becoming a mom, because that's not something that I initially did. I was controlling everything at the beginning. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Learning how to let go, especially around children and stuff and
Yeah.
things like that. And with your children, can I ask, because what's for you, and I'd like to put this out to everyone too, because, as parents and mothers, what's the difference between being responsible for your children, right, but yet letting go and surrendering them to a higher power, to a higher force?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we start every day in the understanding. I'm starting with my kids are 5 and 3, so we start every day with prayer and positive words and asking for divine to guide our day, right? So that's something I'm trying to still with my kids. I still, I'm still making the lunches, I'm still making the dinners, I'm still taking care of the things that need to happen in the household, right? But when they go off to school, it's like, okay, I leave them in your hands. The Creator, these are your children. I'm here as a vessel of love. I'm here serving this mission of being a mom, to raise these beings and hold space for them in the way that they're meant to show up in the world. They're already complete. I'm here to be a host for their light. And so that's how I balance the two. I still have the responsibilities of the mother, but I'm really consciously allowing divine to lead it, to protect my children, to show me the way. And that's how I kind of balance the two. So I hope that makes sense.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Absolutely. Would anyone else like to share, Josette or Linda or Jessica? How do you go in your daily life between balancing, whether it's family or business, and having those responsibilities, especially, if you've got businesses with employees, responsibility with them, or just responsibility with your family? How do you balance responsibility and surrender? Anyone who would like to answer that one? Linda.
Balancing responsibility. Well, I don't know that I've always been great at it, but I'm always a work in progress. I would say that whenever I'm feeling, I don't feel this way much anymore, but if I get to that point of feeling that something's difficult, or feeling that I need to try and control something, or something's not working out as I wanted to, or something like that, if I get to that point, then there's a recognition in me that I'm trying too hard and I need to let go. And something that came to me as you were talking was something that I've found really, really helpful, because I can imagine if somebody's watching this and they say, yes, but you don't understand, my life is falling apart, I've just lost my job, I don't have any money, or there's this terrible thing happening in my life, how do I surrender that? There's a wonderful affirmation by Louise Hay that I've used so much, and I encourage everyone to use it. And it is surrender at its best. I think the affirmation is, out of this situation, only good will come for the highest good of everyone. And when you're in the middle of something that feels really difficult and you say that affirmation, there's an immediate calming of your body. There's an immediate calming of your mind. And if you continue to recite that affirmation whenever you need to, it's amazing how many situations I've experienced personally, but also have witnessed, just really do work out for the highest good of everyone. And it's beautiful because you don't have to try. You're in the middle of this situation and you think you'll never get out of it. And all you've got to do is hand it over. And I don't know if I'm really answering your question properly, but that's kind of what came to me. I love to play tennis. I didn't play tennis growing up, but I learned when I was in my 30s. And so I've played competitively. And it's been a wonderful method of personal growth for me. Because here's the thing, this is one of the ways I learned how to surrender, is because, okay, you learn how to hit shots, right? And if you're in a match, if your mind is saying, okay, this person's over there, so I have to hit the ball over there. If you try to hit the ball over there, you're probably going to hit it out. So instead of trying to do that, what I've learned is that you just have to focus on the shot. Let go of the outcome. When you let go of the outcome, you actually play better, right? Yeah. But if you're constantly trying to say, this shot has to go there and this shot has to be this, and I need to win the next point, if you're constantly doing that, it doesn't go well. So, that's a great example to me, again, of just the small things, right? Just a simple tennis match. But if you learn how to let go and just focus on what you know how to do and allow yourself to just do what you know how to do, great things can happen. But anyway, I don't know if I answered your question.
You did absolutely.
Oh, good.
And thank you for sharing that, because it's so true. It's going back, it's the letting go. We focus on so much on the outcome rather than the experience.
Yes.
And stuff.
Yes.
So thank you for sharing that. That's a wonderful reminder for me at the moment. It's very good. Josette, what about you? And do you have anything that you would like to share about the difference, the balance between being responsible for family, especially as when your daughters were younger, and just surrendering the outcome to a higher power?
I really love what Sarai was sharing, because my kids are now, my youngest is 22, my oldest is 34. And I found that surrendering was more applicable when they became adults, because, parenting adult children is a whole lot different than parenting when your kids are younger. You do feel like you have a little bit more, I'm going to use the word control. You have more, influence over the environment. And when they are grown and out of your house and you have conversations with them and you have the privilege of experience that they don't have, it gets a little bit hard to hold back, and you have to learn how to do that. You're learning to parent in a whole different way. And so that has brought me to surrender more often than I believe it did when they were younger. Because when they were younger, I had to make sure they stayed safe, and there were certain ways that I had to, curfews and stuff like that. And so them being older, it's really balancing what's appropriate as an adult relationship as a parent versus me being their parent, where I'm giving them a lot more guidance. So it's a little trickier and easier all at the same time. So, and I would say one of the things when I was listening to you, Linda, that I love what you were talking about around, surrendering and and the example of learning tennis, the one thing that I thought of too is that, and I know we all know this, is that when you give something your attention, that's where the energy is. You've informed the energy to surround that thing that you've given attention to. So if you are giving attention to all the things that are challenging for you, then they're going to keep being challenging because that's what you're focused on. You're focused on the challenge. And if you practice being focused on something else that is moving the energy in a different way, that informs it to collect itself to bring you a different kind of outcome, because maybe you're taking a different approach to a problem. So if it has to do with, money, if you continue to say, I want, then you're going to be assured that you'll continue wanting. So it can be a process of, reflecting, looking at how you're languaging things in your life, how your perspective is seeing the things that are unfavorable that are happening around you. Ask what they're there to show you, and then focus on something else that is solving some of the issues rather than focusing on what's wrong, because that's only going to organize the energy to keep that going for you, because that's what you're essentially saying you want.
Yeah.
So, and the other piece to that is Michael Beckwith says, and I love this, he says that pain pushes until the vision pulls. And there's a variation of ways that other people have said this same thing. Yet I love the way that he says that, because your pain is going to push, right? It pushes you right up against the resistance until you can surrender to the vision pulling you in its direction. Because sometimes unfavorable things happen around us in order to allow us to be pulled by the vision.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And it's so true. And it's seeing that the vision of the pain, it's seeing where that pain can actually take us, the unfavorable things, all the challenges, and just surrendering to what's in front of us. So thank you for sharing that, Josette. It's wonderful. And everything else. Jessica, what about your beautiful self? Do you have anything that you would like to share? Because I have to apologise. I'm assuming that you are a mother as well. That's a total assumption. But we're all mothers in different ways. But do you have anything that you would like to share about how you've been able to balance, surrendering and yet being responsible?
Well, I have a little bit of a different viewpoint in that I was a caregiver for both of my parents during different times of their lives. Both were in their 80s, but there was certainly a number of times where I had to surrender to them totally, taking care of them in their own home. I found that having a sense of humor was my greatest ally. Okay, Mom, you put the cornflakes in the fridge. Okay, it's okay. Surrender that. Or, I'd find the mail in a different place. It's okay. The letters are here and we'll go through them. But just every day was just a creative, just thinking through that I don't have to be in charge of the outcome. I'm responsible for them. But there's some flexibility in human behavior at that age, and I could just keep my reality, and they're in another reality. It's okay. So I was reminded of this when I saw a video on I think it was Facebook video, and it was the okay lady of somebody behaves that way. Okay. I can just surrender to where they're at.
Thank you. And it makes life so much more easier and stuff when we can have that humor, experience the humor in everything that we do, and especially in your circumstances, Jessica. Being a caregiver can be very challenging. But when you just say okay to everything, life goes by. So thank you all for sharing. It's been wonderful. Now we are coming up to, we're already 3/4 of the way in. So I'd like to go around and just ask probably just one more question for everyone. And I'd love for you to share an actual experience that's reshaped your life, reshaped your direction of surrendering. Would anyone like to share an actual experience that's totally reshaped your direction in when surrendering to the divine?
Yeah, I
Sure,
can
I
share one.
Linda.
Well, and this was before I knew anything about this, any of this. It's quite a number of years ago. I was married when I was 18, was divorced when 7 years later, and lived on my own, had my own house. And I used to, I had some neighbors, and they were in a music group. And whenever they traveled with this group, I would look after their cats. Okay. So I had a full-time job during the week, and I also had a job on a Saturday just to bring in a bit of extra money. So this one Saturday, I got home from my job, and they pushed a note through the door that said, would you like to come over? I think it was for fondue and Trivial Pursuits or something. They said, we've invited somebody from our music group to come, a guy from our music group to come as well. And I thought, oh, great. They're trying to set me up with someone. I'm tired. I don't want to go. I just didn't want to do it. So I was going to say no, but there was just something that kept telling me I should go. And so then I started questioning myself and thinking, they might be, I don't want to be mean. I want to be nice and all of these things. Anyway, so I ended up going, and it was great. And that person became my husband, that guy that they invited there. So if I had not, surrendered to that, if I'd continued with my, I'm too tired, I don't want to be set up with anyone kind of thing. And we've been married 30 years now. So, something went right somewhere. So I think that's a great example of knowing that somebody else knows better than you do. The universe is telling you something to do. So that's probably my biggest example.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And congratulations. Being married for 30 years and listening to that, that inner voice, and putting away the things of, not wanting to go, but still following that guidance. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Soraya, what about yourself? You were going to share. Is there anything you would like to share that's totally changed the direction of your life?
Yeah. Yes, most definitely. So when I had my first child and he was 9 months old, I had an injury where I'd fallen down some stairs and I wasn't able to actually care for my son, and he would cry and I couldn't pick him up. And so I was seeking all the different routes for healing specialists and going down that road. And, up until that point, I had 22 years of chronic pain. So I had 5 car accidents, a near death, and a stair fall. And so I was just at a point where I was like, okay, I'm searching for the answers. I'm not finding them. And this one particular night, I just got on my knees and I cried. And I was just like, I don't know what to do anymore. This pain is no longer serving me. Just help me. I just don't know what to do. Like, I've tried everything. And that's when I heard this voice that said, Soraya, you need to meditate. And so I just allowed. I was like, okay, you know what? I've been meditating on and off since the age of 10, but I wasn't doing it on a daily basis. And I was being called forward to meditate. So I said, okay, I'm allowing. So I'd feel this force wake me up in the middle of the night. And I would just sit in my bed and I would just allow. And what came forward were all the things that I hadn't really processed, emotions that I hadn't processed, things I hadn't dealt with, things that I needed to sort of heal. And once I allowed for that to just flow through, one particular night, I felt this overwhelming presence of light overwhelm my entire being. And I just felt this validity, this completion, and like I wasn't alone on this journey anymore. Because up until that point, I felt alone. And so I just had this feeling and this knowing that I was being guided to healing. And that was my first thought. Okay, how can I rest more here? Show me how I can heal. I know you're directing me there. And then the second thought was, how can I be a light in someone's path and give them this feeling that I'm feeling right now so that they don't have to face the darkness? And that became the opening to all the things that had started pouring through. And I just allowed, and I said, okay, I really want to rest in this light. Just show me, how can I be more in the space of peace? And this is where all the unlearning came and all the things came in my path. So that was a pivotal change, just surrendering in prayer and, finding a way for. I have cured 22 years of chronic pain. So I'll just share that in this opening where I was looking everywhere except for within myself. And I finally have healed that. I healed my body, which is just incredible. So I want to share to everyone who's experienced whatever darkness you're facing, the light is brighter than the darkness. And I just want to remind you of that.
Thank you. Thank you ever so much for sharing that the light is brighter than the darkness. Absolutely. And your journey, and what a powerful experience in surrendering to whatever's out there and just letting go. And I can see, and congratulations on healing your pain. 22 years, I get that. I've been in chronic pain, or was in chronic pain for a long time, and again went on a path of surrendering and was able to heal it. But thank you. Really, 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 really wonderful. Thank you for that. And Josette, what about you? Would you like to share any experience that's totally changed your direction?
For surrendering, I think that, I have several. The one that I want to share is that sometimes, we lose people in our lives, and it can be really difficult, especially if we don't know why or what really happened. I had that situation occur with someone that is close to me, and it's been a process of surrendering. And so sometimes we have to continue to surrender one layer and then one layer and then one layer. Yes. And it doesn't mean that you didn't surrender in the first place. It just means that it's up again for deeper surrender, and then a deeper surrender. And each time I've had to surrender in these various layers have really connected me more to my truer self, and more of a self-awareness around who I am. And sometimes who you are is not meant for some of the people around you. And that's really okay. And actually, we're celebrating.
Thank you. Sorry, Jasmine, I'm just going to mute you, okay? But if you have anything that you'd like to share, you're more than welcome to just come on camera or pop it in the chat and stuff. Jessica, thank you, Josette. First of all, thank you for sharing that. That was wonderful and things, and it's amazing, how life can just how our lives can change when we just trust and let go, and just really, really know that the direction that we're being guided in is what's right for us. So thank you. Jessica, what about yourself? Do you have anything that you would like to share, any experience that's totally changed your direction?
Absolutely. I was making several smaller type movies, short movies, things that were more local, and I decided I want to find a Hollywood cast and crew, and I couldn't. One key role was the director of photography. I couldn't find somebody, and I just, after several frustrating phone calls and contracts didn't go through, I just, it's that internal thing that Sarai was talking about. It's just, I had to work on my insides before working on the outsides. And so I just said, here's the surrender. This is what I want to do. You figure it out, because I can't. And the next day I decided to go to I almost didn't go. It sounds like Linda's thing. I almost didn't go to this one meeting, but I happened to talk with one woman there, and her boyfriend was an A-list director of photography in Hollywood, and he said he would do my film. And, you know, as an independent filmmaker, that was such a big thing to happen to me. So I'm so thankful. So that's a big example of surrender.
Thank you. Thank you for that, and wonderful things that happen when we just trust that guidance. So thank you for sharing that, Jessica. And Yasmin, you've come on camera, which is welcome. Welcome to our panel discussion. Would you like to share anything, or do you have any questions? Or would you like to share any experience for you of surrender?
I actually didn't realize that my mic was on earlier, so thank you for muting me.
It's okay.
But no, I've listened to some of your guys' story. I came in late. I apologize, but I do really relate. I wanted to come into this conversation just because I relate to knowing that, like, I've had a lot of experiences where I feel resistance in myself, and I think I've been very slow to come to like the realization, like, oh, I need to stop fighting life, in order for this to go smoother. In particular, Linda, your story with tennis really struck with me just because I was also a very avid tennis player, like growing up. And I I can still remember it very vividly, like playing these matches competitively and everything, but feeling so frustrated. And I think, you know, like I was told I was very talented and everything, but I would lose matches that I know I can win just because I think I was very outcome focused, very attached to, like, I think I probably have very like type A personality where it's like in my mind I'm trying to like figure out, okay, how this is exactly supposed to go, and try to control all these pieces that you only have so much control through life. So I think I'm still learning how to surrender, how to trust the process, because that's been my biggest challenge, I think, in life, where it's like you're like moving on faith almost because you don't see how any of it's going to work out. You don't know, you can't see beyond where you are. You're literally in the darkness, and you want to just get to like the part where I figured it out. And that's been my frustration. So I wanted to come on here and kind of get some insight or help with that. But it's been enlightening. If you guys all sharing your stories. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us, and thank you for sharing that and your experience. And it's very similar whether you play tennis or whatever. You know, it's really the difference between focusing on the outcome and enjoying the journey, surrendering to the journey, surrendering to the experience. So thank you for sharing that, Yasmin, and everyone else. And I'd like to thank everyone for sharing. Our hour is almost up, so it's been wonderful. It's a wonderful conversation. It's also helped me. It's reminded me so very much on, again, enjoying the journey and not worrying about the outcome. Before we leave, just like to go around one last time for anyone who has any offers that you would like to share with the audience. We do have people watching us. Please let us know. All the links are in the comments below all the videos. So for everyone who's watching us, please click on the links of these amazing people, women who've just shared their experience of surrendering, of the art of surrendering, and how it's helped them in their lives. So Linda, can we start with you? If you have anything that you would like to offer, and I'd also love to know about your tribe.
Okay, before I say that, I have to tell Yasmin, as I was telling the tennis story, I was thinking to myself, why am I talking about this? Obviously, it was for you. And I am a recovering perfectionist. And I remember one time a tennis coach said to me, not every shot has to be perfect. And I was like, what do you mean not every shot has to be perfect? Of course it does. Anyway, that's beside the point. Well, my offer is, I just love to talk to people and just hear of their experiences and where they are. So my offer is really, if you feel like you would like to have a discussion about your energy and the energy that's going on in your life, and see how you can learn how to master that energy, my website is lindabins.com. You could just go there and set up time to chat with me, or send me an email, or contact me somewhere. Linda@lindabins.com. You can email me, and I am really excited. I've recently started to host a tribe here with Sacred You. I am a certified feng shui practitioner. I have been for 26 years, and my tribe is the Feng Shui Success Tribe. And we've had 2 meetings so far, and it's all about the energy in your home and how that is impacting you and how you can work with that to improve any aspect of life. So I'm very excited for that tribe, and we've been having a lot of fun with it. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And I agree. We have been having lots of fun. I'm been honoured that I've been able to go to almost all your meetings, and learning so much and just having a good laugh. So, which is all about, energy
Yes.
and things like that, clearing energy. Thank you for sharing that. Josette, what about you? Tell us about how people can contact you and your tribe as well.
Yes, so I have a free chat that is 30 minutes. So if you want to have a conversation and have a discussion around where you're at and what you're looking forward to, and if you are wanting to expand your self-awareness, and that link should be, I think, below. And my tribe is the Magical Playground, and I'm a co-host with Linda DePamphilis, and we host the Magical Playground. And this tribe is all about empowering women, bringing them through a creative process of discovery so that they can feel more empowered within themselves. And we have a lot of fun. We've created like a bunch of really cool things, and we've gone through some different processes so that women can really start expanding themselves. And what they learn out of each creative activity that we do is pretty amazing. And so it's been really fun, and we're starting up again. And we took a little hiatus for the month of September, and now we're back on it. And this Thursday is our next meeting at 9 a.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time and 3 p.m. Pacific.
Yeah, 3 p.m. Pacific on Thursday,
Yes.
and 9 a.m. on Friday, Australian Eastern Daylight Time. Yes. Yes, we have fun with all the different time zones, and especially at the moment, we're still going through this wonderful thing called daylight saving, trying to remember where everyone is and who and what days and what times. But thank you. And again, another tribe that I really recommend people checking out by clicking on the links below, the Magical Playground. You do get to go and have fun, and even though it's online and it's global, you still get to create some amazing things. And I've seen some incredible creative opportunities, but I'm trying to think of the right word, but masterpieces that people have been able to create even though it's online. And another tribe where you have so much fun, lots and lots of laughs. Thank you, Josette. Soraya, what about your wonderful self? Tell us how people can contact you.
Yes, absolutely. So they can reach me on Instagram or Facebook. They can take a look at the book I've written that was actually written through me, in Total Surrender for moms, either first-time moms or seasoned moms. It's all about unconditionally loving and accepting ourselves. I have a podcast, and I also help first-time moms to spiritually and emotionally prepare for motherhood. So if any of that interests you, please reach out. I also really love connecting and helping and serving, and I feel like I've learned so much on this journey, and it's my joy to give that away now and to give that to others. And Yasmin, as you were talking, and you were saying, it can be so frustrating to try and figure things out. And so one thing I tell myself and I remind myself is it's already figured out for me. I don't have to stress so much. It's already figured out for me when I'm in those modes where I'm just like, I just want to know what the outcome is. And I also have a mantra, which I say to myself a lot, is everything's always working out for me, even when I can't see it. Everything's always working out for me. And that just brings everything to center. It brings me to center and reminds me that I don't have to figure out the plan. The plan is figured out for me. So I hope that helps you on your journey.
Thank you for that. Thank you for sharing that, Soraya. And it's so true that, you know, especially when we get so caught up in the doings and the worry, you know, of what's happening and how's it going to happen. It's just to be able to stop and center and just to go back, well, everything is already figured out. All I have to do is allow it. So thank you. Thank you for that. And Jessica, just coming to you for the last time, and sorry because everyone's moved places, and I realized, whoops, I'm out of thing. Tell us, do you have anything that you would like to share for everyone who is listening?
Okay, I'll piggyback on what Soraya said, because I have a mantra that I say in that the universe always conspires in my favor.
Yeah. So
whatever it's coming toward me, it's already been figured out, and it's better than anything I could figure out on my own. So to contact me, I'm at jessicasatori.com, and I'd welcome emails. And also what's coming up for me is a republishing of a book that I wrote 25 years ago. So this is an anniversary edition of Synchronicity, The Entrepreneur's Edge. And then I will be on the Sacred You panel in December, and that's when the book will be released.
Oh, good. Wonderful.
Yeah. That conspired in my favor to have that all happen. So
we look forward to it. We'll have to talk about having a one-on-one conversation too. Around that as well, but we definitely look forward to that. So thank you for sharing that. And again, for everyone who's watching, do click on these links in the comments and connect with these amazing, beautiful women. And Yasmin, I know you've just come in, and you know you don't have to share anything if you'd like, but I want to give you an opportunity just to tell us a little bit about you and where you're from, if you wish to.
Yeah, of course. So I am based in the US. Right now I'm in Texas. Yeah. And I moved from Tennessee. So I moved around a lot since graduating, but I think I've always felt very connected to like faith and like I don't know, just a higher sense of something higher than myself, you know. And I think there is that divine connection with like life, and there's something more. Like I know I'm not controlling all of this.
Sure.
So yeah, and so I just definitely actually like the Sacred You community for that very reason, because you guys talk about things that I don't know, I think when I go outside my front door, it's hard to find, you know, it's hard to find people that have these conversations, that have deeper conversations and experience with, I don't know, to just recognizing that there's more than we can see going on.
Yeah.
Times, I don't know, I just think even from school, how I'm like educated, like you're just taught in a way that, oh, it comes from a book, or it comes from, you know, a very analytical way of looking at life, and there's just this whole other part which I have never really gotten connected with unless it's through creativity. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing it. And I hear you, and I know Josette's another very creative person and stuff, and it's connecting to that stuff, to that inner self, to the heart, to the guidance through creativity. So thank you for sharing that. All right. And again, I'd just like to thank everyone who's been joining us today, to Linda, to Josette, to Jessica, to Soraya, and for Yasmin, who's joined us as well, and everyone in the background, to our amazing VAs, Maymuna and Angel has also been helping too. Thank you so much. And for everyone who's been watching, thank you for sharing and panel discussions with us. Do click on the links below for our upcoming panels. Our next one isn't until 9 days' time on November the 1st in the Northern Hemisphere, the 2nd here in Australia. But Linda will be back with us for Discover How Even the Most Introverted Person Can Become Their Own Superhero. Another wonderful panel. We offer panels roughly twice a week, so do click on those links for all the ones that are coming up. And for everyone who hasn't heard about Sacred You, do check out the links. Come and join us, because you can join us now just for $1 Australian. $1 Australian, it's about 50 or 60 cents in the US. And for that, you get 2 weeks of coming to experience Linda's tribe, the Feng Shui Success Tribe. You also get to come and hang out in the magical playground. And all of our other tribes, we've got about 20-something tribes ranging on all different topics, from the metaphysical to the spiritual to the health and wellness and empowerment. Do click on the links and come and check us out, because you can join them just for $1 Australian. Then after that, after those 2 weeks, it's only $20 Australian a month. Very much. Lots of tips in Feng Shui success. Much more than $20. $20 Australian. Hey, Linda. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking because I'm getting a bit thingy with my words. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. It has been an honor, and I look forward to seeing you next time.